this is a really, really hard concept to wrap your brain around, but it's um, how to even recognize responsibility and accountability. Now, I've been talking a lot about the way you perceive um, your world. You think everybody's doing something to you, and you have zero control over that. But as soon as you think that you are attracting it, then all of a sudden you have total control and you can change it. So that means that when somebody does an action to you that's harmful, yes, it's painful, but in a way you've asked for it because you are attracting it. The question is why are you attracting those experiences? Now, it does have another aspect to it that's really hard to be responsible and accountable. I can best put it in a way that, okay, I've been dealing with a lot of abuse. Definitely somebody is, doing a negative, harmful action on me. I mean, can prove it, like in so many ways can I prove very harmful acts were done against me. To put myself in a position of power, I've had to recognize what is it about me that was attracting that experience. This is what I had to study, is how do you break the cycle of abuse? And it's both aspects, it's the abuser and the victim that have to notice where their sense of responsibility is in this game in order to change the game. So, I mean, you're completely fooled if you think that a victim of abuse doesn't hold a sense of responsibility in attracting the abuse that they attract. And they definitely are um, not in a place of power, not in a place of responsibility and accountability for not recognizing what it is that they attract. But there is also an aspect that what I put out there is has the same potential to do harm to somebody else. And in order for you to be accountable and responsible for your own sins, you have to recognize the twofold. You have to know the sins that you commit against yourself, but you also have to recognize the sins you commit towards the person that's your abuser. Because whatever it is that I've attracted is also a sin. And you have to be responsible for what you put out into the world. If you detach yourself from the sins that you commit to other people, as well yourself, then you're destroying your whole freaking world. And you have to be responsible and accountable in order to be able to be, you know, have repentance, be repentant. Now, to see an example of where I have sinned to my ex-husband that was abusive, he was constantly doing negative acts all the time. Negative acts, not being responsible, not being accountable. I paid too much attention on all of those negative acts. I would call him on all of those negative acts all the time. And the sin, or what causes that, is he ends up being more and more of what I ended up focusing on. If I wanted him to be more accountable, I should have had more of a focus on the smallest little action he had on being accountable, and sort of make that a big focus, make him feel good about doing something good, and then that would have taught him how to actually behave better. But I failed, like I got caught up in the drama, the negative emotions, everything that's harmful, and you're fighting back, your fight flight instincts come up, and you come out screaming when something bad is being done to you. It's not about accepting the bad behavior that's going on. It's a matter of, am I putting out more of the same negative energy out there, or did I put enough positive energy? Obviously, I attracted this experience. What's the purpose? Why is it that I attracted this negative experience? Because I wanted to learn. I wanted to spiritually learn more about love and this unconditional love thing. So it meant I had to have one hell of a lesson to be able to learn how to love your enemy, and he provided the lessons that taught me how to love unconditionally. And I can see my sins. I can see that I had more focus in being critical and negative every time that I noticed one of his sins, and not had the understanding of what was leading him to do what he was doing. I mean, nobody taught him how to be responsible and accountable. His parents told him he was no good. He had all of the messages in the world that says, I am a no good person. I am not worthy of having respect. So he's been taught how to behave by his parents. Nobody in his world taught him how to do anything differently. And for me to have total recognition with, here's every one of your flaws. Remember it every day. Here's all of your flaws. So, basically, metaphorically speaking, every time he beat me, that's all I would, point out. You're beating me, you're beating me, you're beating me. So again, it's not a matter to love the action, or love the person that's doing the action. It's a matter of, if you want to transform that kind of behavior, you need to have more of a focus on what's good about them. Can I even notice for a second something that was good? There were lots of things that were good about him. He had a love for nature. He had a respect for nature. I could have said, hey, you're so respectful when you do this, you know, your kids are the same way. Like, somehow I could have been smart enough to lead and guide him down, how you do this can also be done this way. I could have somehow taught him or showed some example on what being responsible and accountable was, but I failed. But it's my sin, and it's my job to, every time I have a conversation with my kids, is to let them know that these were my sins, and don't be the same, and to love their father, not necessarily accept the wrong things that they're doing, but to really work hard at trying to pay attention to the behaviors they do want from them, and try to let him know that this is what they really love about him, is when they do this. And that's my way of repentance, is trying to turn it around. Still can't talk to the ex, scared to death that he's moving into the same town as me, but I'm going to look at it as a good thing, and maybe this is the miracle that's coming, as he's, I don't know, it's in God's hands. But this is where I think we're really mixed up with being accountable and responsible. You got to look at what you put out there. You also have to look at what you're doing to yourself, if that makes any sense at all.